Okay, so let's go through some triangle basics here, get some of these definitions out of the way so that we don't need to spend time in class doing this. We can spend time in class doing some application of these things. So first things, a triangle. What is a triangle? Well, on a plane, it's a closed figure formed by three segments joining three non-collinear points. Okay, it's a fancy way of saying as long as you have 3 points that are not all on the same line, and those 3 points are connected by 3 segments, and it is closed, there's no open ends, then you have yourself a triangle. Any triangle is made up of 3 different components though. The vertices are the points. Okay, that's where the 3 sides come together. So your vertices are going to be point Q, point P, and point R. Your sides are the sides that make up the triangle. So you have side PQ, and these are segments. Whoops, that was kind of sloppy there. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. So you have segment PQ, we would have segment PR, and we would have segment QR. Those 3 sides make up the triangle. And then your angles, of course, are named either using numbers, if indeed the angles are numbered, 1, 2, or 3. But if they're not numbered, I can't just say angle P. Well, in this case I could, but I'm not going to get in the habit of doing that. Let's call it angle QPR. That means I start at Q, go through P, and finish at R. That would be this angle here. We could have this angle here, which I could call angle PRQ. Notice the R is in the middle, so that's naming the angle where the R is. And then this angle up here, I could call that angle PQR. As long as the Q is in the middle, that's the angle I'm naming. Now we can classify triangles by lengths of sides. So some of these definitions you'll just want to write in. Okay, a scalene triangle is a triangle where the 3 sides are all different in length. So all 3 sides have a different length. Okay, a sketch of that would be like a triangle that looks like this. Now if you don't have a ruler to measure it, one way that you'll see that the sides are different is if one of the sides has 1 notch mark, the second side has 2 notch marks, and the third side has 3 notch marks. That means they're all different, because if they were the same, they'd have the same number of notch marks. Isosceles is a triangle where 2 sides are the same in length, but not all 3. So that would be something like this, where maybe these 2 sides have 1 notch mark, and then the third side has 2. If 2 sides are the same, that's an isosceles triangle. And then equilateral is when all 3 sides are the same. So that triangle is going to look like this, and all 3 sides are going to have the same number of notch marks. That's a classification of triangles. So if you're asked to classify by length of sides, you want to say scalene, isosceles, or equilateral. The other way that we can classify triangles is by the measure of its angles. Now every triangle has interior angles that add to 180. Alright, so an acute triangle is a triangle which all 3 angles are less than 90. So a sketch of that, it's really not so important as the sketch as much as what are the angle measures. So let's say this angle is 80 and this angle is 70. Well, 80 plus 70 is 150. We know they need to add to 180, so this angle would be 30. The key is that all three angles are less than 90. Obtuse is when one angle is greater than 90 degrees. Okay? So if you think about an angle that's bigger than 90, like that angle, that's an obtuse angle. So this is an obtuse triangle. And you don't really need to know all three angles. All you need to know is that this one down here, let's say it's 120, is bigger than 90. If it's bigger than 90, who cares what the other two are? If one of them's bigger, then it's an obtuse triangle. We have a right triangle. Okay, a right triangle is going to be when one of the angles has a 90-degree measure. And then equal angular is all angles the same. Well, if you know that there's 180 degrees in a triangle and all three have to be the same, if I do 180 divided by 3, well, that's a 60-degree angle. So all of these have to be 60 degrees. Okay? So let's classify some of these. If I want to classify by sides, all three sides are the same. That's equilateral. Example 2, all three sides are different. That's scalene. Example 3, 2 of the sides are the same. That's isosceles. Let's classify by angles. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it was back here and I just had to scroll down and I didn't scroll down. There it is. Let's classify by angles. All three angles are the same. Equiangular. Example 2, all three of those angles are less than 90. That's an acute triangle. Example 3, one of the angles is bigger than 90. That's obtuse. And example 4, we have a right angle here. That's a right triangle. In class, we will put this into practice and solve some equations using triangle classifications.